All right, and welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. So another day of total whipsaw here. Again, we talked about this yesterday. The 440 level is going to be the line in the sand. We gapped up into that, pierced up into the 441 handle, and then sharply sold off here. If you remember from yesterday, I said that it would be okay with a red close today as long as we don't close near the lows. And if you got some type of a tail or, kind of a hammer candle, that wouldn't be too bad. But we really, came off the lows a little bit here in the last 10 minutes, but really kind of an ugly close there. Gapped up, rejected that 20 moving average, and just really not the best look here for the spiders. If we look at, there's a couple of levels I'm watching here on the hourly. One is this trend line here. So taking these lows and just connect it there. So we did pierce through that on the spiders. They saved it at the last 10 minutes. They also saved this green bar low here in the last 10 minutes. So you still technically have an inside bar here, believe it or not, on the spiders, despite some pretty ugly price action there intraday. But obviously tech was much weaker. Again, more of a kind of a risk-off scenario here, and energy doing a lot of the heavy lifting. We're getting to the point, though, where something's got to give. I think if you lose this 434, 433 handle, somewhere in that range, I think it's not out of the question that we retest the lows here, 420 area. And on the upside, if we make a higher low and we get that hourly inside bar to play out, there's nothing to say that we can't break above 440 and push higher. But I think we're getting to the point where we just had so much whipsaw here. And the ranges are just getting tighter and tighter. Something has got to give pretty soon. We have been chopping in this range since January 24th. So well over a month now, and the market has gone nowhere. I mean, nobody's making money here unless you're scalping or, selling premium, essentially. And even if you're selling premium, you're probably not even doing that great because the VIX is making that even a difficult trade. The VIX is still elevated above 30. So selling premium's even a tough trade right here, but this market's all over the map. I think we're getting a little bit close to some type of an inflection point, though, here. I will say, if we take a look here at the E-mini, this actually isn't too bad. So this pattern actually looks much better. This is still an inside bar. There's still nothing wrong with it. And you got a nice little doji finish. A lot of times the doji can be the candle that precedes a breakout. So, not the worst look here on the futures, triple Qs. Ugly candle here, hitting that 20 moving average and total rejection. Almost engulfed yesterday. You were engulfing it at one point today, but then you look at the NQ, and this is actually a bullish pattern. This is actually a pretty clean setup. Nice little bar here, and then 1, 2, 3 inside. So you got an inside bar there on the NQ. The diamond. This isn't the worst look here on the diamond either. Inside of this green bar on a closing basis, nothing really wrong with that when that happens. And on the YM Dow futures, again, inside bar, nothing really wrong here. Russell 2000, IWM, ugly pullback off that 205 handle and reversed a lot of yesterday's gains. But then again, looking on the futures, it's really not that terrible of a pattern here. So we're seeing the futures give a little bit better of a look than the cash session, excuse me. And that's where the sellers seem to be coming in. So that's been the trend lately. We'll see if this market can finally make up its mind, but I think we're getting very close to an inflection point. There's a lot of things that are very close to key levels, and the Friday close will be very important this week, as it always is, but even more so this week. All right, anyways, let's flip over and go through our sectors. So semiconductor is red again, down 2%. Again, not the worst look here. Up move, and you're still flagging a little bit, but these big wide range candles are not a good look. You want to see small candles inside of a bull flag kind of formation, but semiconductors held up for the most part compared to the rest of the market. They didn't take out yesterday's lows, so they're hanging on for right now. Let's take a look at Broadcom. I believe they report. Wow, Broadcom up at $600 now, so getting a little bit of a bid, basically reversing all of yesterday's moves. So their earnings are out. So that's going to help the SMH there. Let's take a look at SMH after hours. Yeah, up about 50, 60 cents after hours. So that's going to help out the market a little bit. So Broadcom beating earnings, it looks like. But anyways, let's flip over here. Let's look at cloud. So here's another kind of ugly one here. Cloud down 2.5. IGV closing at 335.54. But again, it's not the worst. Look, you're still in the upper range. You haven't taken out the low from the 25th. You're still kind of just consolidating, but this is kind of it's an ugly bar. There's no other way around it. It's an ugly bar. We're into resistance, but again, a lot of things here during the cash session are just not performing very well. But we'll see what happens tomorrow here, and we'll see what we get. Let's take a look here at the transports. This is actually transports finished red by basically 6 basis points. So basically flat here, but this is one of the bright spots of the day. If you take a look on the intraday and the transports here, they were green for quite a while here and then rolled over towards the end. We talked about the jets yesterday. We got to keep an eye on those because they can be a leading indicator for energy prices, but jets getting hit again as crude reversed today. They did hold on to the lows, but airliners getting hit, and they are going to get hit hard by energy prices and rising energy prices. They're also going to get hit by geopolitical, basically no-fly zones, like in Europe and Ukraine and so on, as there's, just more fuel being used. So watch the jets, keep an eye on them. But them getting hit a little bit. Rails did okay, though. CSX up nicely. Norfolk Southern. FedEx was up nicely. There's Norfolk Southern. FedEx was up, 1% there. UPS. So transport's kind of carrying the market a little bit here today, but overall, getting into that 50 moving average there and kind of pulling back. Nothing really wrong with this pattern. This is actually holding up okay. All right, so let's talk about yields. Yields not doing a whole lot, just kind of an inside day there for the 10-year, inside day on the 30-year as well. Pulled back a little bit here, now getting a pop. We'll see what kind of a pattern it puts in. Nothing really to do with it right now, though. Home builders. Again, getting rejected. This is going to be, we talked about this. This area is going to be resistance. This is where you broke down, so you're back testing that. No surprise to see a pullback now. Do we get a sharp follow through, or does it start to go sideways? If it starts to go sideways, maybe it wants to make another leg up. VNQ, go figure. This one was actually green today, up almost 1%. So congrats to VNQ there for the nice move, bucking the trend in the market. All right, flip over to financials. Another kind of brightish spot. I mean, again, they were red, but held up way better than a lot of other things. The yields kind of holding up is really what's driving this right now. So we see the 10-year here, sharp move down, then the 1, 2, 3 up. We look at the XLF, it's really just following the 10-year right now. So sharp move down and up and reversing a little bit there. Financials are holding up right now. They're hanging in there. Won't make too much out of it. Broker dealers were down a little bit more here. JP Morgan, which got a nice bounce yesterday, did pull back a little bit off that 140 handle. So you want to see this get back above that 140 area for the XLF to have a better look to it. Anyways, just got to talk about energy, of course. So XLE, another green day again today. Excuse me. Still an inside day though on a closing basis. And if you look at Chevron here, making new 52-week highs, actually all-time highs here on Chevron. I think this can get up to 160 in the near term. But energy's just been a strong trade right now, and that is despite crude, which reversed pretty sharply today. I know there was some rumors out there about Iran possibly getting more supply online. Something the United States were going to do a deal. Then that got shot back down, but crude reversed anyway. You can take a look here on the intraday. Reversed pretty sharply, and then it tried to bounce back up, and it kind of closed in this in that lower range there. So we'll see if crude reverses a little bit here. It's way overbought. We know that, but with geopolitical risk, there's nothing to say, this can't hold up. In the near term, if this does start to pull back, your obvious target is going to be 95. So that's going to be your main area of support there. But, they may even defend it at 100. You have that tail high there. So they might even defend it at 100. Now, if it does sell off sharply tomorrow, again, we talked about this earlier, this weekly tail candle is still in play. So if we close below that weekly tail candle, you could make a case that that's a failed breakout there on crude. But with the geopolitical stuff going on, this is just such a tough trade right now, is energy. But in any case, crude coming in, and we'll kind of leave it at that. We'll see if we get follow through tomorrow. Nat gas pausing a little bit here today. Nothing really wrong with this. So you had this move up. We talked about this kind of bull flag kind of pattern. 1-2 days up, and then a little doji candle here. So nothing wrong. Just pausing a little bit. It can move higher tomorrow. Maybe it consolidates a little bit more. The more it consolidates, the higher it can go. I don't really see any problems with nat gas right now. Dollar index continuing to be higher. Still did not take out yesterday's high or the 52-week high for that matter. It did make a 52-week high, but not closing above yesterday's high. But still in a good shape here. I still think it needs to do more backing and filling before it really breaks out. If we look at the US euro to US dollar, I think this can get down to 1.09. You look on the weekly, that's kind of where you reversed and pushed higher. So that's going to be your main support area. But euro very, very weak right now taking out that green bar low there. So that is going to help the dollar index. All right, so let's flip over here. Gold, not doing a whole lot today. Again, kind of an inside day just like yesterday. And this is going to hold up as long as there's geopolitical tensions. Same thing on silver. Nice little inside bar, potentially building up on silver here. Still inside of this tail high and still inside of this power bar here, but no problems right now on either of the precious metals. Platinum also getting a little bit of bid off the lows, getting above that red bar high, so that's a positive there. And ultimately, this is just kind of choppy consolidation here on platinum. Now, palladium, on the other hand, finally got above this tail high. I didn't think it was going to be able to do it, but look at that move there. Now, Friday's close will be important on this. If it can close above that tail high, that would be a very strong positive, as well as this red bar high. So there's some nice levels here in play on palladium that we'll be keeping an eye on tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. But nice move there on palladium. I didn't think it would get above that tail high so quickly, but you know, crazy market, crazy times here. All right, so copper, follow through. Finally, we're getting to talk about copper other than saying that it's inside of this range finally. So got above that 463 area that I had penciled in, that red bar, and now confirming above that. Let's take a look at the weekly. So again, here's your inside bar. Nice move. If this can confirm and close above this area tomorrow, again, it wouldn't surprise me if they shot it back down tomorrow like they've done so many times. But, you know, if you can close above this high here tomorrow, I would say the copper probably has broken out. Or, you know, I mean, you still have this red bar high to contend with, but at least we would finally be out of this range here on a weekly closing basis. Because if you look on the weekly time frame, we have not gotten above this area here, that 451 area, for instance, not even 463, but we haven't gotten above 451 on a weekly close. So yeah, copper showing strength here, and again, a lot of it's geopolitical tide, as you guys already. Anyways, let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin here, interesting little pattern here, pulling back a little bit today. Same thing on Ether, a little pullback pattern here, but potentially, you know, if you can get a higher low and somewhere in this range, maybe 40,000, 39,000, you know, make a case that you've got kind of a WV bottom. So that's something I would put on my radar here. Slight lower highs potentially in here on Bitcoin, but it's holding up for now, and it's you know, crypto's holding up a lot better than the equity markets. A lot of that may have to do with you know, a lot of the stuff that's going on geopolitically, the whole country getting canceled and now trying to move into Bitcoin or other. They even said they were trying to accept Doge now. So I mean, that, you know, totally crazy times here. But Doge holding up right now as well. So, you know, just totally crazy stuff going on here. But again, ultimately this pattern here, specifically on Bitcoin, you know, keep that on your radar. That is a decent W pattern. And if you can get a higher low, you could make a case you got a WV, which is a bullish pattern. So we'll just leave it at that. But just crazy market right now. Anyways, let's wrap up here. So ultimately, again, play it very conservatively. This market's very fragile. You know, we can't get direction one way or the other. You know, bulls get control for 10 minutes, then bears get control, and you know, we make a lower low, then we make a high. And you know, be very careful. Don't over position yourself. Don't over leverage into any one trade. But ultimately, you know, the pattern here on the futures, we'll continue to watch these. These are not terrible. You know, NQ, that looks okay. That's a bullish pattern. YM here, bullish pattern. The Russell is okay. I just don't like what it's doing during the cash session. That's not a good close there on the spiders, and definitely not a good close there on the Qs. So I'm definitely a little bit more in caution mode here going into tomorrow. And tomorrow's close is going to be very important. So because that is the weekly close. Anyways, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. You guys have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.